Hey folks, if you've been following my channel, you'll know that I just got the ROG X Flow while I'm also still testing the M3 Pro, but am leaning towards returning it. And in this video, I wanted to give my thoughts on this device in reference to also comparing it to the MacBook Pro. Now, I play a full game of Custom Hero Chaos, and then I also do a bot match to get the FPS settings shown to you here. It typically ran at 60 frames per second, whether on the turbo mode or Windows mode. So if you're not familiar with Windows laptops and you're coming from a Mac, I'll try to explain most of the process. But yes, I do have both of these devices. I'm going to head to Australia on Friday, but try to get as much testing to you in this Cyber Monday timeline and past Black Friday, so you can decide what laptop you want if some of these deals are going away. Now, after setting up a lot of the stuff for Windows, you could get MSI Afterburner showing 70 frames per second, or Dota, of course, has the showcase here of 80 frames per second. And I do want to note here something going back to an M2 Pro, or actually the M3 Pro. If you had seen my previous channel, I'll link a link in the comments and the description. So the M3 Pro, I don't know, I keep getting mixed up. The M3 Pro actually runs at 120 frames per second, and this wasn't CHC. And also in the bot match, I get 60 frames per second on X Flow. So something to consider on this device is that yes, you technically get the 120 frames per second, but I'll go into some details in that there's some things with the mouse lag, with Bluetooth or even wired, that you may want to consider if you are optimizing towards gaming. There is a Armory crate that comes installed with the ROG Flow X13, and you could use this for monitoring if you don't want to use MSI Afterburner. So actually I turn it on and then I test how it performs on without the plugged in. So here you see it's on battery mode, and auto goes to silent mode. So that's something that gets configured when you're not on battery. And just showcasing and talking about it while I play some of this game, you actually get around 50 FPS and some battery drain. I kind of showcase in this video. Playing through CHC goes from 80%, which is something you could set in your charge settings to maximize battery health, is just keeping it at 80%. And then one other thing I want to call out here is that, playing through about 5 minutes of CHC, turning on monitor, winning duels, if you're familiar with this game or not. Dota 2, there's a custom game I highly recommend you play. It's pretty fun, called Custom Hero Chaos. All this to say that I think you could get about an hour or 2 hours running on battery mode. It goes from 5 minutes gaming to 74%. So that could last you an hour or two, which is typical. And then when you try to plug in, of course, do not knock over your iPhone, because that could be unfortunate. Now, one thing I want to mention also is that these Windows machines, something that prevents overheating is turning off CPU boost. So I'll leave also a link in the description and the comments of how to do this. I've done it on the G15 and on the Lenovo. You don't have to do this, but you can go into power settings and turn off the aggressive power processing mode that is not initially there on the Asus, but here you just simply turn it on disabled. That should help with the CPU overheating or throttling, reducing the fan noise if you want to, or you can also play on silent mode if you just want to get quote unquote a similar experience to a MacBook Pro. Now I will say, as I have to catch my breath, I like recording in one take. Basically, you'll see me win and outpone this guy, because that's just part of the game. Is if you haven't tried it out, you basically bet on people dueling, and then you try to survive an ever-increasing creeps that get harder. Now, let us go back to when I was testing this about 2 weeks ago on the M3 Pro. You get 120 frames per second. On paper that sounds good, but I've made a video previously on the M2 Pro and even on the M3 Pro that it's either Bluetooth lagging, game mode, you have to be wired, or something to that effect. I'm not exactly sure, but there's just some slight delay. It could even be the screen refresh time that just, in my opinion, being quote unquote addicted to Dota with many hours played, I just prefer playing on Windows. I can't explain it. And then there is, of course, if you're playing on Mac OS native, the Command Q, the Command W, if you're used to using Alt for your items, will quit, and there is a fix for that, but it could get quite involved. And the last thing I'll say is, depending on the game you play, I showcase, and I'll maybe make one last MacBook video, is that if you're using wine or crossovers, whiskey to play video games, there are some games that don't play and anti-cheat does not work. So that's the purpose of kind of showcasing this device, which was the X Flow 13. Why I made this video, why I'm going to take it to Australia and actually return the MacBook, is that it's a 2.98-pound device, as light as the MacBook Pro, decent screen. Yeah, it's not the same exact specs, but compared to paying 2,500, I think the price value is there. If you're looking for an ultrabook that lasts a long time with battery life, could be quiet with certain config settings, this might be a device you want to check out. So last, I'll leave these final comments is zoom in on the screen on bot mode, 80 frames per second. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, but I'm going to leave the rest of this game showing this bot match if you want to just see it to the end of me playing. No OBS being recorded. And if you went to my previous video at the unboxing X Flow, I used the same Resolve YouTube subscribe type file, and I'm not exactly sure what the problem is, but at least something to consider is I edited that on the Lenovo RTX 4080, and then this one, which you saw was kind of glitching out right there, that was on the MacBook Pro, which I'm also editing right now, doing this voiceover, because I still have yet to test Resolve on the X Flow, but I'll just leave it that maybe there's something you want to check out if you use kind of those prepaid transitions for the M2, M3 Pro, any MacBook. Make sure that they work. I don't know, mine was glitching. And yeah, ramble over. My dog, or my brother-in-law's dog, is gone, and all he left me with is that portrait. So to people who commented saying my dog was cute, I leave you with the portrait. I'm going to test out other games like League of Legends, Batman Arkham Knights, Marvel, and that's probably all the time I'll have to test before I have to go to Australia for a month. I'll be going on a honeymoon by taking this device because I might have to work a little bit. Probably won't get too much gaming in, but I think this will be the long-term travel device as I take across the country on my travels, and then using the Lenovo when I'm back home. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of this video. Peace.
Power wells up within. Naturally. Go green. Yes. Leaving. I'll take that.
Missing top.
Nature's guide returns. You must earn your keep. Lie fallow in your grave. In green, I go.
Missing top.
Nature's ferocity. Not yet. You've gone green, I see.
Missing top.
Attack. soon. Yes. I answer the wild's call. The wild is calling. Nature calls. By my sleeping body. True. New life will make its home amongst your bones. The tree. How sweetly the sap flows through shady lanes. A bit of green. Naturally.
Fortified their structures against attack.
Fighting paths. Yes. I the wild. On my way. Limber. Bottom is missing.
Enemy's top tower falls to oblivion.
Where in your back did you hurt? Is it like your upper back?
So I go. Go green.
broken with the moving on. Would this just be the end for me?
With a wild spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a lot. And then like for me, it was,
With a wild will.
I remember that to be for me long period. I think after almost 2 months, it was a lot. I never really complained, so it was very humbling just to see like how much people are doing.
Go free.
Yeah, it's yeah. So originally I was gonna do my honeymoon in March. We haven't really